Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to teach you how to make an easy pie crust. So you're going to start by getting a whole stick of butter and you're going to chop it up or dice it up into little squares. And you're going to throw that into a bowl. Then you're going to get 1 3/4 cups of just regular all-purpose flour. You're going to add about 3/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. And you're going to mix that up. You can just use a fork. Give that a good mix. Okay, then you're going to dump that flour and salt into a bowl. And using your fingers, you're going to kind of pinch it to get it to kind of get together. So you're just kind of pinching it like this. You're rubbing it in between your fingers to try to get that butter to mix with the flour. Now, if you have a fancy dancy mixture thing, then you can use that. But since I don't, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, which is just as good. So pinch, pinch, pinch. And as you'll see, it'll start to get kind of crumbly like this. And obviously this gets easier with experience. So once you've got it pinched a lot, then you're going to take whole clumps of it and you're just going to squeeze it in your hand like this. Just kind of get it to get to this crumbly texture. And since this process does take about 3 minutes or so, I'm just going to put this on pause. So it's been about 3 minutes, and as you can see, it's now kind of crumbly texture, and that's what you want. And it's nice and mixed up. So now you're going to take about 2 tablespoons of cold water, and you're going to add it and mix it up with your hand. And you're just going to keep adding a tablespoon of water at a time until it starts to form into a dough. You're just going to squeeze it with your hands. Kind of squeeze it on the bottom of the bowl like this. And it'll just start to come together. As you can see, I've squeezed it enough that I can now take this out of my bowl. So, you might want to add just a little tiny bit more water. Sprinkle a bit on there. Make sure it's all nice and together. Okay. Now you want to dust your side with some flour and take your dough ball, stick it in the middle there, and now you're going to knead it. At the very beginning, you want to check and make sure if it's too dry. I'm seeing that this is a little too dry, so don't be scared. Just throw it right back in the bowl. Add a little bit more water. Squish it up a bit more. There you go. And don't be worried if you add a little bit too much water, because all of this can be fixed with more flour. So that's good. So you're going to stick it here. Now you're going to push it out, pull it back, and smush. Push it out and smush. And just keep spreading your flour in between this push and smush method until you keep kneading your dough. And you're going to do this for about 3 minutes. So we're going to pause again. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes now. So we're going to shape our dough like this. Just doesn't be a perfect circle or anything. Then you're just going to kind of smush it out into a circle. So it's kind of like a bit like a disc. Then you're going to wrap it in cling wrap. And you're going to stick it in the fridge for 20 minutes. and that's gonna let the dough relax. While we're waiting for our pie crust to get finished, now is a great time to prepare our innards. So I'm using 3 plates here. The first plate is this one. We've got broccoli, sun-dried tomatoes, and spinach, and that I'm just gonna throw in as is. The second plate is bacon. Ooh, that's hot. And the third plate are things that I'm actually going to cook beforehand, and that includes my garlic, my green onions, my peppers, one shallot, and a whole bunch of mushrooms. And I'm gonna cook all this in the bacon fat. Hold, please. Okay, so we have fried up all of our vegetables, and we have cut up our bacon into little bits. And of course, as I showed you earlier, this can just be thrown in. This is what we call mise en place, which means everything in its place, meaning everything is prepared ahead of time so that when this crust is ready, we'll just be able to throw it in. Okay, I should also mention that we're using a 9-inch diameter pie plate. So one of the things we also need to do is we need to olive oil this up so that our crust does not stick to the bottom. Very important step. If you skip this one, you will not be able to get your crust out. And trust me, that's very embarrassing and looks terrible. So you want to make sure you oil it up with whatever nice olive oil you have. And don't forget this lid part too. Also, you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Probably you want to start that a little bit earlier. All right, it has been 20 minutes, so I've given my dough plenty of time to chill out in the fridge. So I'm gonna take it back out again. And as you'll see, I have prepared this piece of wax paper because it's gonna make it much easier to transfer this dough into this plate. So I'm gonna take my rolling pin and I'm gonna cover it with some flour. And, crap. I'm gonna fix my tripod. Sorry about that. Right, so I'm going to roll it out, and we'll have to pause this part. Obviously, you know how to roll out a pie crust.